Love English Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Love English Podcast, your go-to place for improving your English listening and speaking skills. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Mia. It's wonderful to be back here with all of you. We believe the best way to learn is through natural, real-life conversations. And today, we have a topic that you will use literally every single day, multiple times a day.
That's right. The topic is simple but so important: how to talk about your day. It's often the first thing you discuss with family, friends, or partners when you see them in the evening. But how do you go beyond a simple, "it was good"? A one-word answer can really be a conversation killer. It just puts up a wall.
Exactly. It just stops everything. But if you know how to describe your day with a bit more detail and color, you can open up a great conversation. It's a fundamental part of connecting with people. So, to start us off on this deep dive, Leo, how was your day really?
You're putting me on the spot. I love it. Well, honestly, my day was incredibly productive. I've been working on this huge quarterly marketing report, and I have to admit, I was dreading it. You know that feeling when you have a big task looming over you? I'd been procrastinating on it for a few days.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. It just saps your energy thinking about it. So, what changed today?
I don't know. I guess I just decided to get the ball rolling. I woke up, had my coffee, and told myself, okay, just 1 hour. Just work on it for 1 hour. But then something just clicked. I got into this amazing state of flow. The words were just coming to me, I found all the data I needed easily, and I ended up working on it for 4 straight hours without even noticing. I managed to finish the entire first draft. It feels like a massive weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Wow, a flow state. That's the best feeling for productivity. I know exactly what you mean by a weight being lifted. It's a physical sensation, isn't it? Like you can finally breathe properly again. So your day was productive. That's a fantastic word. So much more descriptive than good. It tells me you accomplished a lot.
It does. It gives specific information, and it often invites a follow-up question, like, oh, what was the report about? Now it's your turn, Mia. Tell us about your day. How did it go?
Oh, my day was a complete mixed bag. It started out so hectic. It felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. My alarm didn't go off, so I woke up 45 minutes late.
Oh no, that's the worst way to start. That immediately puts you in a state of panic.
Total panic. I rushed out of the house, and as I was getting into my car, I tried to take a sip of coffee and spilled it all down my new white shirt. It was a disaster. I just stood there for a second thinking, is this day for real? Then, of course, I hit a ton of unexpected traffic on the way to a very important morning appointment with a new client. It was like the universe was conspiring against me.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like the beginning of a really rough day. Spilling coffee on a white shirt is just classic bad luck. I'm sorry to hear that. What happened next? You must have been so flustered for your meeting.
I was flustered, stressed, and convinced I'd blown it before I even walked in the door. I almost called to cancel, but I took a few deep breaths, tucked my shirt in a way that hid most of the stain, and went in. And this is where the mixed bag part comes in. A mixed bag is a great idiom for when something has both positive and negative aspects. Despite the chaotic morning, the appointment went incredibly well. I was meeting a new client for my graphic design business, and she absolutely loved my portfolio. She signed a major contract right there on the spot.
That is fantastic. See, it all balanced out. That must have completely turned your day around. What a relief.
It totally did. It made up for all the morning stress. That single success made me forget all the chaos. So my day went from hectic and stressful to successful and exciting. The rest of the afternoon was pretty smooth sailing. Smooth sailing is another good idiom for when things become easy and trouble-free after a difficult start.
Your story is the perfect example of how a day can have different chapters. This is why having a good vocabulary is so important. Let's try to break some of these words down for our listeners in a natural way. We've used a few words for good days already. My day was productive, and yours ended up being successful. What are some other positive ways we can describe a day?
That's a great idea. Well, sometimes a good day doesn't involve work at all. We could talk about a relaxing day. For me, a productive day is great, but it's also tiring. A relaxing day is the opposite. It's all about recharging your batteries. For example, I could say, I had the most relaxing day. I slept in, did some light yoga, and spent the afternoon reading in a hammock in my backyard. I feel totally refreshed.
That sounds like heaven. So productive is about achieving things, while relaxing is about resting. Then there's fun. A fun day is full of laughter and enjoyment. You might say, I went to the city fair with my family. We tried all the crazy food and went on the rides. It was such a fun day. I felt like a kid again. It's active, but the goal is pure enjoyment, not accomplishment.
I love that. And let's not forget the simpler, warmer words. Sometimes a day is just lovely. It's a word I use when I have a really pleasant, emotionally satisfying experience. For example, I had a lovely lunch with my grandmother today. We just talked for hours and she told me stories about her childhood. It doesn't mean I achieved anything or even that it was super exciting, but it was heartwarming and pleasant.
I think that's a brilliant set of words. So we have productive for work, successful for achieving a goal, relaxing for resting, fun for enjoyment, and lovely for pleasant, heartwarming experiences. Now let's pivot to the not-so-great days. Your morning sounded both hectic and stressful. Let's unpack those two, because I think they are often confused.
That's a great point. They often go together, but they are different. Hectic really describes the situation. It means there are too many things happening at once, usually in a chaotic, disorganized way. Like me waking up late, rushing, spilling coffee, hitting traffic. That is a hectic situation. Stressful is how the hectic situation made me feel. It's my emotional response.
That's a perfect explanation, the cause and the effect. You can have a hectic day that isn't stressful if you're some kind of superhero who thrives on chaos. But for most of us, a hectic day is a stressful day. What about the word rough? When would you say you had a rough day?
Rough feels like a day with a lot of friction and challenges. It's like you're trying to move forward, but everything is an obstacle. For example, I had such a rough day at work. My main project got a negative review, I had a disagreement with a coworker, and then my computer crashed and I lost an hour of work. It's one challenge after another.
That does sound rough, and that leads to feeling drained. Let's talk about the difference between a day being draining versus exhausting. They both mean you're very tired, but in different ways, right?
Exactly. Exhausting is often more physical. You could say, I helped my friend move apartments all day, carrying boxes up and down stairs. I'm completely exhausted. You can feel that in your body. But draining is often more emotional or mental. You might not have moved a muscle, but you feel completely depleted.
Can you give us an example of a draining day?
Sure. Imagine you had to deal with a very unhappy client for hours on the phone, trying to solve a problem. You have to be patient and empathetic, and you absorb all their negative energy. By the end of it, you feel like you have nothing left to give. You could say, that phone call was so draining. I just need to sit in silence for a while.
That makes perfect sense. And if all of these things happen at once, we get to our final, most extreme word for a bad day, a nightmare.
Yes, nightmare is a word you say for the truly catastrophically bad days. It's often an exaggeration, a hyperbole, for when a series of unfortunate events happen. For example, my day was a total nightmare. My basement flooded, then I found out my car had been towed, and to top it all off, I realized I had a huge presentation the next morning that I'd completely forgotten about.
Okay, that is officially a nightmare day. So what about the days that aren't good or bad? The ones that are just Thursday? Most of life is made up of these days.
Ah, the neutral day. This is where phrases are more common than single words. The classic, of course, is same old, same old. You'd say it with a little shrug. How was work? You know, same old, same old.
It implies a routine that never changes.
But same old can be a conversation killer if you just leave it there. A great tip is to add one small detail to give the other person something to talk about. For instance, oh, it was pretty much the same old, but I did manage to try that new coffee shop on my lunch break.
That's a fantastic tip. It opens a door. The other person can now ask, oh, the one on Main Street? How was it? and now you're in a conversation. You could also use phrases like, it was a pretty standard day, or nothing much to report, or if work was uneventful, it was a slow day.
Now, let's quickly touch on the busy family again, because we distinguished it from hectic. A busy day isn't always bad. You could say your day was packed. It just means your schedule was full. I can't talk long, my day is packed with back-to-back appointments. Back-to-back is a great phrase for one thing after another with no break.
And then they're swamped. I use this all the time. It means you're overwhelmed with the sheer volume of work. It's like you're sinking in it. I'd love to go out tonight, but I'm completely swamped with emails. I'll be working late.
Perfect. Now we've built this amazing toolkit of words, but none of it matters without the other half of the equation, active listening and good follow-up questions. This is what truly makes a conversation.
It's the most important part. If a friend tells you they had a rough day, your response is everything. A bad response is, oh, that sucks, and then you start talking about your day. A good response shows empathy. Oh no, I'm really sorry to hear that. What made it so rough? If you want to talk about it, I'm here to listen.
Exactly. And the same for good days. If I say I had a productive day, don't just say cool. Ask a question. Oh, that's great. What were you working on that you made so much progress?
It shows you're genuinely interested.
But let's consider a tricky situation. What if you had a terrible day and you just don't have the energy to relive it by talking about it? How do you politely get out of that?
That's a very real and important situation. The key is a technique I call acknowledge and pivot. You acknowledge their question and your feelings, and then you pivot the conversation to something else. It's honest, but also protects your peace of mind.
Can you give me an example? Let's do a mini role play. Ask me how my day was, and I'll be the one who wants to deflect.
Okay. Hey, Mia, you just got home. How was everything? You look a bit tired.
Hey, Leo. Yeah, you could say that. It was pretty draining, to be honest. But you know what? I'm trying to leave work at work tonight. I'd much rather hear about your day. Did you manage to fix that leaky faucet?
Oh, okay. I totally get that. And yes, I did. I am now a certified plumbing expert.
And see? It works perfectly. You were polite, you were honest, but you successfully changed the subject.
Finally, let's just briefly touch on context. You wouldn't describe your day to your boss the same way you would to your best friend, right?
Not at all. With your best friend, you can be informal. Dude, my day was a nightmare. My boss was driving me insane.
But if your boss asks, how was your day, Leo? You'd say something professional. It was a very productive day, thank you. I managed to finalize the quarterly report. I did encounter a small challenge with the data, but I found a solution.
That's a huge difference. You're still honest, but the tone is professional and solution-oriented. It shows you're a capable employee, not a complainer.
It's all about knowing your audience. Well, I think we have covered every possible angle of this seemingly simple question. Our listeners are now fully equipped.
That's our goal, from the lovely to the nightmarish and everything in between. We hope this very deep dive has been incredibly helpful.
The challenge for you, our listeners, is to practice. The next time someone asks about your day, don't just say good. Use one of these new words or phrases. Notice how it changes the conversation. Thanks for tuning in to the Love English podcast.
We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Love English podcast. Remember, every minute you spend learning English is an investment in your future. Keep learning and see you in the next episode.